Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For a couple of years now I have done a video at the end of the year where I talk about 5 books that I was convinced I would read during the year, but somehow I have not. And let's be honest, this is a little bit of a list of shame for me, because these are books that were just so highly anticipated, and then I just simply did not read them. In some cases, I didn't even acquire them. So let's talk about these books. Okay, so let's start out with the list of last year, because there are a couple of books that I have to make confessions about. Okay, so 2 of the books of last year's list I have read, so that is a success. First of all, I read Bitter by Ekweke Emezi and I gave it 4.5 stars. I really loved it. And then I read Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn, which I gave 5 stars and really loved. So that was quite the good track record, but then things got more complicated. Then I had Me and White Supremacy on my list, and unfortunately I have started this, I'm halfway through, but it's just not working for me, so I put it aside to just let it sit and find a headspace where maybe this would work better for me. Have not found that headspace yet. I still have time to finish it this year, but I'm not quite sure whether I will. We'll see. And then we have Our Violent Ends on the list of last year, and I have started it. I'm 30 pages in, but I don't think I will finish it this year. So this will probably be finished in the beginning of January next year. So this is not quite a success, but at least I haven't ignored it. And I finally did the reread of these Violent Delights to start this one. And then the last book is my book of shame, and the first book on this year's list as well, because I still haven't read it. And it is The God of Lost Words. This is the conclusion to this trilogy, the Hell's Library trilogy by A.J. Hackwith. And the big holdup is that I have to reread the first 2 books because it has just been too long. Now, full transparency, this book has been on every single list I have made at the end of a year. So, will I finally read it in 2024? We'll see. But I'm so mad at myself because I love this series, and it's honestly just the rereading part that is keeping me from finally finding out what happens at the end. I love these characters so much. I need to know. So I would say the other 4 books on this year's list aren't quite so bad, but let me start out with books that I just haven't acquired yet. The first one would be My Contrary Mary. Yeah, this is kind of a sequel to My Lady Jane, which I have reread last year in preparation to finally read My Contrary Mary. And I still have not done so for some reason. And I can't tell you why. I mean, usually it is the rereading of a previous book that creates a lot of holdup for me, but this one, I have literally reread the previous book, and then I did not continue. So in 2024, I really need to read My Contrary Mary, and maybe even the sequel to that, but I have no idea what that one is about. So yeah, we'll see. This is kind of an interesting series because these books aren't usually connected to each other, but My Lady Jane and My Contrary Mary are, in a way. The next one is an anticipated book that is by one of my favorite authors, and I have not gotten it yet. It is A Spell of Good Things. Now, I have heard that this one is very different from the first book of the author, just in the themes and what is actually happening in the book. So I just got scared, honestly. I was like, I don't want to ruin this author for me with a book that maybe just isn't so great. So I don't know, I just need to get it and to read it. I had it on my wish list, so maybe I will get a copy for my birthday, which will make it easier to read for next year. Similarly, on this list could also be Happiness Falls by Angie Kim, which is a very similar story. I have it out from the library right now, so I hope this will be one of the first books that I read in January, so I did not put it officially on this list. Next up is one where honestly just getting the book is the problem, and that is Monstress Volume 8. I was so excited to read on in the Monstress series because last year I read, I think, volumes 5, 6, and 7, and I feel so at home with that series. I absolutely love it, and volume 6 was my favorite one so far, and then something happens at the end of it, so I was so intrigued to see how after volume 7 it would continue now. But I just can't buy the book. It's just not available. And so, yeah, that's all there is. I was so excited about it, and usually those came out around October, so I started looking for it in October. Then I saw that it would only come out sometime in November, I think the end of November. And when it finally came out, I just could not find a copy of it anywhere. And then the last one is a non-fiction book. So I usually wish for some non-fiction books every year because I want to read more non-fiction, but then I never actually end up reading a lot of it, which is kind of sad. But this one is especially sad because I have been eyeing this book for so long, and it is Fearing the Black Body. Now my research thing is body weight, and this book combines ideas of fat phobia with racist ideology. And I think that is so interesting because it is a perspective that I had never considered before I heard about this book. So I think that I would really profit from this in many ways, not only because it is interesting, but possibly because it could also broaden my perspective on something that I'm researching. So why have I not read this book? Nobody knows. It's not even that long. I just haven't made the space for it. So that makes me really sad because I have been eyeing that book for years now, and I do own it, and I still haven't read it. So that's just stupid, but I guess it happens to all of us. We'll just have to commit next year. So my goal with these lists always is that at the end of the next year, so 2024, all of these 5 books will be read. Now, as you can see with my little book of shame, that doesn't always work out. And I'm actually quite sad that this year I don't have a great track record with these books, but we'll see. I'm quite confident in the ones I put on this year's list for 2024 that I will actually really like all of these, and we'll see about that. Now I do have one last honorary mention, a book that I would have given all of my toes to be able to read this year, and that is the 4th Nevermore book. I think it's called Silverborn, but it was pushed back again to the last quarter of 2024. So we'll wait patiently with as much patience as I can find, but yeah, that's also a book that I have been wanting to read for so long, and it's just not happening right now. So let me know, what is one book that you really wanted to read this year and just for some reason did not? I would love to hear about that. And if you're watching this, it is New Year's Eve, so I hope you stay safe and have a great time. Now we'll talk to you very soon in the new year. Bye!